I also tell him with his voice, I said, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. If you have not because you ask not,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So I'm training him now to be assertive, to be, even though he's more extroverted anyway, but sometimes I see him like kind of, and I'm like, nope. What did you say? What did you want?
Yeah.
You need to ask for it. And I tell him like, tell your friend that. One of his friends is acting a little wild with his parents, and really wild, but the kid was going through a lot, to be fair. I said, you encourage him, tell him, get off, listen to your dad.
Yeah.
Be a good friend. Tell him. Don't let him act a fool in front of you, And then he said, I couldn't talk to my mom like that. I'd be grounded for a month.
Yeah.
And so I'm teaching him now to have a voice.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about this the other day. I said, don't just give what life offers you.
Yeah.
Because Tony has this one thing where he says, life will give you whatever you ask of it. And he talks about this story where he had just, he hit some crazy goal in his business of 20 million something, I don't remember. And he was so happy, but he wasn't really moved because he just went back to his seminar and he was like helping people. And I was like, that's great, but this is what I'm doing is greater. And he walked out and he was so elated that night. And he said he saw this guy, and it was in LA, I believe, who was begging for money and said, sir, do you just have a quarter? All I'm asking for is one quarter. This was like maybe 30 years ago or so when he first got in the game. And Tony was like, that's all you want, just one quarter. And he said, yeah, just one quarter, Tony. Or he said, sir, that's all I want. That's all I need. And he was like shaking. You could tell. And so Tony pulled out his wallet, and he had like a bunch of hundreds, 20s, 10s, some ones. And then he was like trying to find change. And he said, all right, here you go. And he said, the guy looked at him and he said, life will give you whatever you ask of it. And the guy looked at him like, he looked at his money, he looked at him, he looked back at the quarter, and he said, you're weird, man. And he like took off. But the moral
that's a big
the moral of the story is like, whatever you ask of life, it's going to give you.
I agree.
And so I press my son now like, hey, life really shouldn't give you much from from what you came from. But you're not going to take that. You're going to ask for what you deserve.
I agree.
And men today are afraid to do that because they've been conditioned, like you said, to get that dopamine hit from porn. It's better to jerk off than be rejected. It's better to, stay at home and, have a connection with a girl on camera than to risk the thought of actually being in real life with a woman and having that connection that could go awry.
Yeah.
Because the deepest wound that men and women have is that we won't be enough. If we won't be enough, we won't be loved. And that drives everything we do on the planet. Everything. For man or woman, even the housewife, mother. Yeah. Her love and she's moved by significance because she takes care of her kids, and that does something for her to feel like, oh, I'm providing, giving these kids. It's all that.
People don't believe though in that. Like weirdly enough, people don't see the parallel or the connection, whether it be spiritual, emotional, and then the actual natural connection between how you think and what your experiences are. So I'll give you an example, right? When I first seen you, right? And I was telling you this the other day, the very first time that I had ever seen you was, the male feminist versus female anti-feminist, right?
Jubilee.
The Jubilee male feminist versus anti-feminist. And I seen you, and I told, who did I tell? I might have told you, but I said, I gotta have her. Like, I gotta have her. I don't know if it's just having a conversation with her. Now, fast forward, we interacted, we talked on the phone, did a live stream together. We sitting here having this conversation. But see, I'm always like that. When I want something, I'm going to go and get it.
Yeah.
And it's not even that you force it or anything like that.
No, it's just energy.
Yeah, I know, like, oh, no, that's for me. Or,
or that's
me and them are going to have a really phenomenal relationship.
Right.
And we're going to build some great stuff. And we're going to shoot some great whatever it is, we're going to shoot some great shit. Whatever that is. But people don't really believe that can be a thing, whether it's small or big. They don't believe they can get that job. They don't believe that they're going to get the money. They don't believe that they can be successful. They don't believe they can get in certain rooms. I've always got whatever I wanted whenever I wanted it.
Well, yeah, because believing is seeing. It's not seeing as believing.
but then I actually act on it. I don't even
Yeah.
know. Did I reach out to you first?
No, I a friend of mine sent me your YouTube, and then I did a reel and I tagged you in it, and that's probably how you saw me.
Ah, okay.
And then I think I sent you a DM or something that said, "Hey,"
But see,
or
that's what I'm
something.
saying.
I don't know.
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I'm like, oh, I had to reach out to her first.
Yeah.
But it just works that way because it's just like, I don't know.
It's just like it's an energy of like knowing, like seeing it and then believing it'll happen and then it actualizes.
Yeah.
People think, or I rather believing and then seeing it. I said that incorrectly. I apologize. So believing is seeing, not seeing is believing. Like you have to believe it and then you'll see it actualize.
Yeah.
But people don't understand that we live in a metaphysical world. Like everything that we are surrounded by is movable, is pliable, it's
It
always
is.
changing.
It is.
And so once you get that like code, you understand how to like crack the game, you know, because you've got the code. It's like, oh, this is, I tell my son this all the time. I'm like, this is a game. It's just like, and I tell him, don't like wait until like what mommy went through to like figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, get the game early. Like I got my first TEDx talk coming out this summer and I want
And
my son,
congratulations
thank
to
you.
that. Yeah.
And a couple more to follow. And I want my son's I'm going to have him do his first one. I mean, the TED director is going to work with him
Yeah.
probably when he's 10. You know, I want him to have that confidence of what men are lacking today.
Yeah.
Because you're right about communication. Like it's the number one most sought after skill that is missing in college graduates today. It's communications. They don't know how to talk to people.
I agree.
They don't know how to talk to themselves, first of all. There's no interpersonal communication, let alone intrapersonal.
Yeah.
And so we have relationships of people that can't even communicate with themselves. So how can they communicate with someone else? Like how can there be a functioning dynamic? They don't even know like how to be in a world that has programmed them to be something else. So they're like, this is so confusing. Like, I don't understand. Like, porn, I want a girl, but do I really know? You know, and so they like get swept away. And then, like you said, they'd much rather stay at home and watch porn than
That's
actually
crazy to
be
me.
with a woman and risk the rejection or put in the effort of like just being a man, like thinking critically.
The rejection, the unknown is what makes life worth living to me. Like the adjustment, the whatever it
Course
is.
correct, whatever you have to do.
Whatever it is that you experience in the moment, being in the moment is what makes life worth living for me, because that's what that's what gives me the feeling. That's what gives me the emotion. That's what, being emotionally connected when you're having sex. All of those things is what makes it special for me.